Welcome back to Sisters and Law. I'm Judge T.
And I'm Attorney Rosalind Charles. It's so good to be with you.
We've kind of missed some time over this summer. I guess everybody has been vacationing. And
Including
we're back.
us.
Yes, we've all had to have our vacations. But I have today, we've had so much going on, it would be absolutely impossible. We thought that we would bring you more substance than time. And so we're trying to limit our time to a particular topic. And I was speaking to Sora Roz, or Attorney Roz, this week. I was actually astonished. You know, we had the hurricane in Texas.
Correct.
Then we had the hurricane in Florida and the Caribbean. My daughter was down in Florida, and I can't even tell you about how people were really just taking advantage of people that were trying to.
They're taking advantage, and a lot of people are hurting, and it's just a shame that people are indeed taking advantage. The price gouging is absolutely insane.
Let me tell you, my own experience. My daughter goes to school in Florida, and I actually just had come back from Florida like 2 weeks earlier. And when I understood that the hurricane was coming, her school being an aviation school, they kind of had an ups on how fast the storm was coming, and so they evacuated almost 4 days before it actually hit.
That's marvelous. That was good for her.
And what I didn't know, I just went straight online to get a ticket. At that point, I was prepared to pay whatever it took to get her home. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know, simultaneously as I was getting the ticket, I was about to pay $998. In fact, I did pay $998.
Yes, you did. And then you told me that you actually should have only paid
$98. What he did was
some
he did
agent in between
charged
you $900.
$900, but
with life and limb at stake.
I got to the bank, got them to take off the $900,
right.
And then let me tell you how trifling he was.
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes before my daughter was to get on the flight, she had her ticket in hand at the gate.
She's essentially running for her life.
He deleted her ticket.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I'm telling you, I thank God for JetBlue. I got JetBlue on the phone. They saw what happened. They saw the ticket there. They saw the ticket going. She couldn't they just closed that door. The guy was on the phone. He said, can your daughter get down 7 gates? There's another flight leaving in 15 minutes.
Well, generally speaking, the American way is a good way. And generally speaking, when in times of trouble, people come together. But there are those few who are going to take advantage. And there are those few who are going to... I just like to think that they were outliers. But hotels were overcharging. Gas was overcharging. People were charging outrageous amounts of money for water. Is that the capitalist system that we know?
I mean, it was unbelievable. Mm-hmm. I mean, the amount of devastation, the amount of I guess this I don't understand this America. Right as that was happening,
just a small portion. But go ahead. What are you talking about?
Right as that was happening. Remember, we were talking about DACA.
Yes, we were.
And that's the program that President Obama had put together to allow children that were born here, but they came here as young children,
right?
Either before 1974 or no older than 16 years of age. Okay. And
the bottom line is that they came here wasn't of their own volition. Mm-hmm. For all intents and purposes, they are Americans. They've known no other country, and the concept of deporting them would just be inhumane.
Now, but it hit me in the head with a rock. When I heard the 45th actually repeat those words the other day, I thought I was going to fall off my seat.
Well, he's coming around.
He's
at least in this news cycle.
He's doing whatever.
At least in this news cycle.
He's doing whatever he needs to do.
But things change. He's this way, he's that way, he's this way, he's that way. So right now we're in a high point.
I don't know what point.
We're in a high point. But you had some interesting commentary that occurred on your own page, because you had put some things up on your own page with respect to DACA.
Yes.
And it's my understanding you were quite troubled by some of the responses, particularly from
Black
African Americans.
Yeah. I was amazed how vile African Americans were on my page with regards to our supporting DACA. Now,
you mean people of color or African Americans actually supporting?
Well, they were talking to me specifically because I was.
Maybe it's just your friend.
You know what?
Because I haven't really gotten that sense, but you got the sense that that some African Americans were not in favor of African Americans themselves supporting individuals in DACA.
Well, to be honest, I'll give you an example. I'm gonna roll on, and as we are talking, I actually had the opportunity to read some of I was enraged, basically. Some folks were calling me a coon. They indicated like, why do we need to help the Hispanics? Hispanics are racist against blacks. They've never done anything for blacks. I just didn't understand where it was coming from, and to the extent that it was actually being said.
Well, to the extent that it was being said, it does kind of go against what most of Americans actually indeed think, because most of Americans are sympathetic to the situation.
I would think that would be the case, but it was the way it was presented was pretty straightforward on their comments.
Well, would you call it racism? Would you call it prejudice? Would you call it hatefulness? Or would you call it indifference? Because
I really don't know if we can call it. I don't want to hear myself.
You on two fronts at this particular point.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to. So we're trying to. What I was trying to do is to the comments, and it's like 75 of them. So it's like this one. This is why would black communities support DACA? Latinos don't never support BLM. Black Lives Matter. They don't side with blacks. No matters of injustice, whether it's police shootings, affirmation actions, or any issues important to blacks. Latinos are some of the most racist people in the world, even more than whites. Even ones mixed with blacks don't want to identify with us. Let them fight their own battles. If it was Trump was looking to kick us out, they wouldn't give a shit. They would be on Trump's side. They'll try to deny it, but you all have to pay attention.
Well, that's one comment. And there were some other comments that were somewhat similar. But
75 of them, and most of them were similar.
Oh my goodness! Well, so you know what? This is not even an African American issue. This is an American issue.
This is an American issue.
And fortunately, like you said, I said it. Trump's on a high point at this particular point. He has left it to the Congress to deal with the issue of DACA.
Yeah,
and people are talking about it, and now it's being politicized. It's being politicized to the point that now they're trying to put the DACA folks on with the wall. Now, Trump then had a meeting with the Democrats, and it seems like there's a tentative agreement. There's a discussion with respect to DACA, and he didn't tie any kind of thing or any kind of statute or agreement or the wall or anything else with DACA.
Well, we're like I said, we're trying to give you more substance and time. What I think we are dealing with the 45th is whatever he needs to say to make sure that the media is on him. He'll say something far right, far left. This is where I said
all publicity is good publicity, be it negative or positive.
That's why I said he's worse than a racist. He's indifferent. Indifference doesn't care as long as it's all about him. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're getting caught up. We're caught up in the tomfoolery of it being all about him. Every day, in and out. I mean, yesterday, what would he call Kim Jong-un? Rocket Man? Dude, we're talking. Okay. And then he puts on his Twitter page him shooting, doing a 9-hole on the golf, but the ball hits Hillary and knocks. I mean,
it is childish. It is childish.
Not only is it childish, it's promoting violence.
Yes. Well, let's get back to DACA, and let's get back to
the
process moving forward.
But that has a lot to do with. Even with DACA, because you're talking about violence against a minority of people, which we have been on many occasions that tag minority. Today, the DACA has more to do with. Well, you know what? This is the irony. The largest group, and I researched this week, of folks coming in without their papers is Irish.
Okay.
Irish.
All right.
They're also Asian.
Have they fallen under DACA, though?
We're not talking about it. And yes, they are.
All right.
And so, but what we have made since he came down that escalator, we have made everything Spanish a Mexican issue.
All right. So what you're saying is that these other groups that are involved came forward and have now enjoyed the benefits of DACA that has recently been, if you will, disbanded or at least suspended for 6 months while Congress is supposedly
and I think that the reason why we may have gotten this little suspension is we realize that it is not really all Mexican. Because I don't
know if I want to go there, but you are okay.
Well, what I have said is if anybody does anything more than just read the internet or watch television, actually read a book. Go and do some actual research with.
If it's not 140 characters, most people aren't getting.
If you take an opportunity and read a book, do some research, you will find that much of what we talk about every day is mixed up with tomfoolery.
Right. Well, there's a script and there's a narrative, and the real story never gets unpacked. Mm-hmm. So it's provocative to look upon DACA individuals as people of color. But if you look at people of many colors that have come to this country for the same reason.
Africans, Caribbeans.
Everybody.
There's a lot of people that fall in
This needs to be a humanitarian effort. This has been bantered back and forth for years. This was a failure, if you will, of the Bush Congress. It was a failure, if you will, of the Obama-era Congress, and then Obama took it upon himself to
at least put something in place.
Well, he did it via executive order, and what kind of precipitated Trump rescinding it is that the states, the attorney generals, were suing
20 of them. I think 20 different
because there's DACA and there's DAPA, and I think most recently DAPA, which is the parents of those individuals. Right. The Supreme Court said it was illegal because it was done via executive order. And it wasn't just the executive order. They were saying it was presidential overreach by Obama. They were they basically said, it's one thing to say prosecutorial discretion. In other words, just kind of look the other way when you run into these kinds of individuals. President Obama went one step further and conferred them, I won't say citizenship, but just gave them some rights, allowed them to get a work permit, and allowed them to enter, not just work, but go to our schools and things of that nature. And they said he shouldn't have done that. And at least within a court of law, forget about the moral aspects of it, but within a court of law, we're going to have problems with it. So, yeah, Trump, he was pushed into it. Yeah, he did. I'm not saying he was right or wrong. He could have just stood his ground. But he chose to, if you will, punt. And so did Jeff Sessions, Beauregard, because Beauregard allegedly gave him advice and said, hey, 45, he probably says, we're going to lose in court. Mm-hmm. Donald's all about winning. So he rescinded. He didn't want the spectacle of all of that. And gave it to Congress and said, do your job. So what's Congress going to do?
Well, we'll find out. Yeah. We'll have them some time. They have 6 months to try to get it together. We will have lots to talk about this fall. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us quickly on our comeback with Sisters-in-Law with Judge T.
And Rosalind Charles.
Please hit us up on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And make sure you subscribe as we want to continue the conversation. Thank you. And we'll see you next week on Sisters
and Law.
With Judge T.
And Rosalind Charles.
See you soon.